And live! Welcome back to the Invictus stream. My name, as always, is Harlan. I am here with my sexy friend, Chris. My spooky friend, Justin. And my... I'll go with sexy friend, Mycl. How are you guys doing tonight?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
How you doing?
How is everybody doing out there in Lava Land, and how are the three friends doing?
Oh,
finally, we
awesome.
Alex out here, eh? Alex.
Oh,
Oh,
my goodness. Well,
slammo every 5 minutes. Come on.
trying.
We don't need no slammo. He's going to watch us and cry himself to sleep. But seriously, congrats on him for getting married. It's going to be a fun time. And I'm excited because I'm his best man. I get to give a speech. I get to give a Brandy Jack speech.
Nice.
There you go.
We'd be like, ladies and gentlemen, it's all
You're
going
gonna-
to be fine.
You're gonna improv it, right?
I'm gonna improv it.
Improvise it
Actually,
and
I
bring it
do
down?
have like rough discussion points for the speech, but I'm gonna wing it. That's what Harlan does. That's how I did my wedding speech. So I wrote my vows. So, again, for all you guys watching out there, this is a little preamble, a little precursor to Call of Cthulhu, which is going to be starting in a few weeks. And I wanted to talk a little bit with these guys about their characters and a little bit about kind of what is to be expected and what's coming around the corner in the weeks to come. Oh, Mike's looking scary. Actually,
I
this
have no
does kinda look scary.
sanity.
It does look scary, actually. I'm not too. You kind of made me nervous about that. So one of the things. One of the things that I did want to talk about with Call of Cthulhu is kind of what the world is about for you guys who don't know. One thing that we're going to do when it comes up is we're going to roll up characters. But over the past few weeks, these guys have been talking to me, and I've been talking to them, and getting little pieces of their backstory and kind of their character names and piecing it together, because we're going a little bit different about Call of Cthulhu. So to keep it broad, Justin, you played a lot of Call of Cthulhu. Why don't you give us a quick rundown of what Call of Cthulhu kind of is?
Okay, well, I mean, basically, Call of Cthulhu is a role-playing game that is based around the stories and imagination of H.P. Lovecraft, who was a very prominent writer in the early 1900s, 1920s or so.
Yeah.
And he made many famous stories like The Call of Cthulhu, the Dunwich Horror, with the Color from Out of Space, I think is one. Reanimator. A lot of movies based around the works of H.P. Lovecraft. And the whole thing about... It's horror. He's a horror writer. And I would say that the biggest theme in his books is that the greatest fear, the biggest fear that any human ever has is the fear of the unknown. Not
It's
knowing
true.
what is out there.
Yes. And basically, the game uses a D100 system, sort of. That, again, we'll go through when the game starts and things like that. But one of the big things I wanted to kind of announce and talk about tonight was how we're going to be working the investigation system. Now, typically, in Call of Cthulhu games, it's about research and finding out clues to kind of lead you to a solution. Each of these characters, Chris, Mike, and Justin, and Alex, will be playing with us, are investigators of a sort. And Chris, what's your character's name again?
My character's name is Henry McFarlane.
And I think last we spoke, you didn't have a job for him just yet. Did you find one? Or
I had an idea for a job. I believe I would be, well, not a job per se, but I get by gambling and such.
Oh,
A drifter. Yeah.
Drifter, sexy. And Mike, what about your character?
I am going to be playing Jarrett Coombs, who is a university student, but not at Miskatonic. He's a religion student,
Ah, religion.
studying
major.
to be a priest of sorts.
And Justin?
I'm playing a man named Frank Nelson Underhill, who is a train operator.
So
And that's all you need to know.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. But that's
He ends all of his sentence on an inflection.
And that's kind of how these games work. One of the cool things about Call of Cthulhu is that they're everyday people. They're bag boys. They're drifters. The previous game we had, Justin was a musician, Chris was a bootlegger, and Mike was a drifter. I think Holly was a journalist, and Jenny was
A secretary.
a secretary.
All I will say is that if we haven't mentioned it, it is set in the 1920s. It is set during the age of H.P. Lovecraft.
Correct. Yes, it is during the 1920s, so there's prohibition, there are things like that. Bob just posted a link that says the oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear, and the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown, which is by H.P. Lovecraft. And that's the best way to summarize the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. It's spooky, it's scary, it's unknown, and it's hairy. So one of the things that the game kind of centers around is research, because these guys are always going to be looking for the solution. They might come into an apartment and find that there's a blood stain on the carpet, and the first thing they're going to do is check a spot hidden, and they're going to be looking around for clues and things like that. One of the staples of this research is going to the library. Now, in Call of Cthulhu, it frustratingly takes 4 hours to research something at the library. Now, obviously, this is in-game time, but it always kind of stirred us as a little bit wonky. If you're hot on the trail of a killer, you don't want to have to wait 4 hours in the library just to find a useful bit of information. It can be frustrating. And because of that, and for a few other reasons, we're cutting that out. Rather, we're taking it out of the player's hands and we're moving it to you guys. So, anyone who's going to be watching and joining on the Invictus stream during the months or the weeks into months that we're playing Call of Cthulhu, you are investigators. You are researchers aiding the investigators. And I'm still kind of narrowing down the system, but what I think I'm going to have is sort of a bit of a vote system that you can wager XP for either way to get the opportunity to research. And I'm going to be sending you guys bits of information that you can then deduce the important stuff. You know, you might get a few pages in a PDF file, and you can highlight the stuff and send it back to the guys, to whoever you want to help out, to give that vital bit of information. But the important thing is, I want to put the onus on you guys, the viewers, because again, having a sense of community is so important to us, and having you guys so involved in the game is what makes it fun. So if you need to spend an extra hour trying to decipher a ritual so that these guys can banish a demon or translate some obscure text into a different form of a cipher, or if you get a picture and there's a multitude of different people in it, but you're trying to find out which of those people is the one that these guys are trying to look for with facial features and descriptions and things like that. So that's going to be on you guys. So their success depends a certain degree on the amount of work that you guys put into helping.
I'm just going to say right now that I'm excited about that because I can tell they're a lot smarter than I am.
So basically, as Hans put it, they're unpaid interns. Yes. Yes. However, you do get paid in a little bit of XP. XP, as we all know, is kind of the masthead of what makes these games work for us. And I've developed the sheet, the PDF, sorry, for these systems, for the system that's coming up, and I will show that to you momentarily. But while I look for it, because I don't have it open, Mike, why don't you tell us a little bit about sort of how, within Call of Cthulhu, do you remember how the dice roll worked? Just kind of touching on that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's part of what's called the basic role-playing game. So you use the, you're always using percentile dice. And basically, you may have a skill like research, and you may give yourself a certain amount of points. It gives you, say, 10% research. So as you're rolling the percentile dice, oh wait, I can even pull it up here because we've got great dice graphics.
As Chris pointed out.
Give me a second here. Sorry,
I got one up there, Mike. Mike, I got one up there. So I got 52%.
Oh, there we go. So we got a 52. So if my research score is 10%, I have to get 10% or lower. So in this case, I would have not have found out the information. Now, the other nice thing about this system is when you do succeed, you get to put a little tick mark beside that skill, and that actually gives you a chance
To become
between
better.
sessions to get better. Now, again, it's still a matter of passing a percentile score, whether or not you get to improve that skill, but it gives you the chance to do so.
That's kind of cool because it's kind of like the idea that practice makes perfect versus other systems where you generically, even if you haven't done it ever and have never been successful, you can just get better.
Yeah.
Whereas this system allows you to get better because you've used it over and over again.
Exactly. And on that note, while I do think the way of leveling it up is fantastic, I kind of find that, at least in the games that we play, it's very slow. So one of the things that we're also happy to announce is part of the XP system is, well, here, I'll screen share right now. So this is the PDF that we've drawn up for the Call of Cthulhu. And you guys might recognize this. This is the same format we used when we were playing the Numenera. So this one, you can see there's a few different ways that you can earn XP. But the one I want to talk about right now is this practice makes perfect. And let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see that. This is what we're talking about. Typically, after an encounter or session of what character is used, you know, if Chris is lockpicking something and he succeeds, he'll check that off. And at the end of the session, he'll roll a 1d10 to try to up it 10 points. Well, you guys can spend 10 XP to award the character of your choosing a 1d10 roll worth of skill points to the skill of your choosing. Now, the fun of this is it is a skill of your choosing, meaning that typically in this game, Chris might try lockpicking, check it off, and then roll 1d10. However, during our game, you might decide, you know what, I think I want Chris to be a little more proficient at
Eating.
Chris. Eating.
Because he slobbers a lot.
So you could pick a skill that's on the sheet and say, I'm going to give a 1d10.
Driving. I can go to driving.
Driving, something like that. So if you guys are nice, it can help them, obviously. But if you want to be mean, it can hinder them a little bit. So
will you be putting a list of all those skills for the characters for the people to see?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is typically with Numenera, once our characters are rolled up, we're going to post them all so you guys can see all the character sheets, which will give you an idea of what skills there are. If we want to make it easier, I can also post all the skills. And then this file will also be attached there. There's still a few things I want to iron out to make sure everything's fair. But once those two things are up, all it is a matter of time before we have to wait until August 13th for the game to start. Now, the other thing we're doing in kind of preparation of this is, as we all know, Justin is a fantastic narrator. And he's been working with me to narrate a few short stories. And the short stories are backgrounds to the player characters. So, again, as Chris said, Henry McFarland, we have Mycl as Jared Coombs, and Justin's character is a man by the name of Frank Nelson Underhill. And right now, I'm going to make that live so that anyone who wants to listen to a little spooky story before bed can check it out on our YouTube channel. And this is a story that I wrote about Justin's background, which has been recorded by Justin. And they frame the setting that we're trying to make. And I'm going to go into the setting as the last thing we touch on before this, before the end of our little session here. There, I just posted to the Facebook wall, so you guys can take a listen to that.
I'm
but
excited.
Again, I'm excited. We're all excited. There's a certain intensity that comes with horror games in general, not just Call of Cthulhu, not just games run by certain people. Horror games in general. The first game that we ever ran, I would say, as the Invictus stream officially, was The Rake, and The Rake was a scary, intense game that I don't think you guys survived in.
No, I was thinking about that game for nights after. It was good.
And I think there's a little bit of fun in that horror. Chris specifically loves horror. Chris, tell us about your love affair with horror.
Yeah, let's not. I'm particularly not a love affair with horror. I'm squeamish, nervous. If I can't punch it, I don't like it. So the fact that supernatural just really freaks me out. The fact that, there's nothing I can do about the horribleness that's going to ensue is it's good, yeah.
Horror is going to be a good one for Chris. And that's what makes it fun. I'm a huge fan of horror. You can see it even in my background. There are various horror things that have kind of probably stuck out over the years. And on that note, Justin reminded me that we are playing the 7th edition. So it is a new edition. The rules are a little different. They've fudged a few things which I quite like. There is a bonus system of luck that has expended points. I can't remember now. I have to look into it. But so if you guys want to play along or figure out the rules, I know Hans, you can let us know when the rules are going wrong. But for the most part, the game is going to be a storytelling game. I have a really cool story set out that is going to take these guys through
hell and back.
Well, it's going to take you to hell. Getting back is on you guys. I can't guarantee that. So that's all the quick stuff I wanted to talk about. Did you guys have anything to add about Call of Cthulhu? Or
if you don't know about it, go familiar side. Maybe read some of the lore. It'll kind of just help out understanding. If you like horrors, you'll like this for sure.
If you like horrors?
Horrors.
Oh, okay.
Horror.
I was gonna say, I believe on the brain farting again. Who makes it? Who distributes?
Oh.
No.
Chaosium.
Chaosium. Do they not offer a free download of the introductory game?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you want to try it out and get an idea of what we're going to be doing, go there. Become a member of Chaosium and download a free trial game.
And we already have a little trailer on our YouTube.
Yes, there is a trailer that should get you spiked up a little bit. Shut up and take my Call of Cthulhu XP, says Bob. Haunt has never played Call of Cthulhu, so count him out of the rules and stuff. That's fine, but you can still tell us if you think we're doing something wrong.
We'll believe you.
So I want to touch on 3 quick points before we go, and we're going to end before 11, so you guys can still hit the bed. 11 Eastern time. I don't know where you guys are, but the one thing I do want to mention off Call of Cthulhu for a second is that while I am excited for it, and it is our next major campaign, we still have 3 weeks of great content that's coming out. Next week, like I mentioned at the beginning, Justin is running a game of The Running Dead with Mike and Chris. Alex and myself won't be here for that one, but the 3 of them are going to have a truly epic time. So no Dennis Collins, sorry. After that, I'm going to be running an End of the World campaign. I think I'm going to do a whole new one. I got a couple good gory ideas in mind. I don't know if Alex will be joining us on that just yet. Oh, no, he won't. He'll be married. He'll be in his honeymoon. And after that point, we're going to have a game run by Mike, which is TBD. I'm putting it on the spot, so he's going to have to, it can be a D&D or whatever you want, Mike. Surprise us.
Alrighty. We'll see what happens.
A community voted game if you want. And then that's when we start Call of Cthulhu. And so please hang out, continue the conversation. We'll be still awarding the MVP posts and all that kind of stuff. We're going to continue doing the polling all up until Call of Cthulhu and throughout Call of Cthulhu. And if you have ideas for the stream in general or stuff you guys like and want to see more of, let us know. If you're like, hey, I really like when you guys did the recordings or video games, because sometimes we play Twitch streams and stuff like that. If there's content you guys want to see, let us know. We like doing that stuff. We like making people happy. Mike likes making people happy.
Or if you want to just know what beer I'm going to be drinking next.
It's true. I think we should have Mike's beer blog. It's just a one line every week. I'm drinking this.
I'm going to start posting it before each one.
Michael's beer blog.
Because there's a nice one by Witchwood Breweries that comes out just for the Halloween season.
Ooh, we'll make it spooky. And then 2 last things. While all of our shows are 18 plus, all of them are 18 plus, Call of Cthulhu is going to be darker. Now, I am toying with the idea of setting the age restriction lock on the videos because they are dark. And you'll see that even the narration of Justin's background does have some pretty touchy stuff in it. But the world of Call of Cthulhu and the world in the 1920s is a dark world. So, let me know on Facebook what you guys think. If you want the age limit off, if you say no, leave it off, okay, maybe we'll leave it off, and we'll just give many warnings throughout the thing. Otherwise, most likely because of the content, I'm going to make it 18 plus. So, not that anyone there is under 18. Actually, I think Gabe might be. I don't know, he's been around for a while. So, we're talking mature stuff, guys. So,
we may switch from boobies to penis.
To penises.
We might actually say it.
Penises are fun. They're
or
funny,
maybe
right?
even nipple.
Whoa.
And we may not just be talking about male nipples.
Whoa. Too heavy, bro. And finally, I just want to give you guys a little bit of the setting so you kind of can titillate your taste buds with the times of the 20s. Titillate your taste buds with the times of the 20s. Arkham, Massachusetts is a fictional city on the East Coast, and it's the summer of 1927 when these characters meet up. The biggest heat wave in the country's history is upon them. Each of these men has something in their past that they're ashamed of, whether it be the inability to ignore the pursuit of knowledge, whether it be beating yourself up over the loss of a loved one, or an addiction. Each of them has something to overcome. And rather than typical stories of heroes falling to their own desires, these are all troubled characters. These are characters who have flawed pasts. And we're going to see if they can right their wrongs and save the world from the World Eater. Either way, that's a little bit of a setting, so you can kind of get with the characters and kind of see what they're doing. So, other than that, thank you guys so much for being with us. Thank you guys for sticking around and seeing a little bit of what we're planning on doing with Call of Cthulhu. We're all very excited. We're going to be putting a lot of new work into it. Justin's done up some really cool frames for our game, so you're going to see our little character portraits and different things. As we're getting more used to Google Hangouts, we're trying to make it a little better. So you'll see a lot more quality coming from the next campaign. And if you have any last questions, I don't think you do. Other than Aisha saying she's so excited that she can't wait with a little baby going like this. Which is exactly how I feel. So, other than that, have a good night, guys. Thank you so much for being with us. Again, a big round of applause to Chris and his fantastic campaign. I don't have the effects queued up. There we go. If you're watching this afterwards and you haven't watched Numenera, go back and watch Numenera, and for that, go back and watch Dragon Age as well. And come back for Call of Cthulhu. Because now I need to think of a cool tagline for Call of Cthulhu. Because you might get eaten. All right, Chris, say what you got to say.
See you around the table, guys.
See you around the table. Good night, guys.